Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here and for taking a little time out of your day. So, this is something that comes up pretty often, or that I hear about pretty often. And so, I wanted to sit here and talk a little bit about it with you. And that's like morning routines. Like, what about that? So, I've had some sort of morning routine, and if you follow me on Instagram or if you've been reading the emails, I talk about it a lot. But my usual morning routine looks pretty much the same day in and day out. I'm up about 4:30, maybe a little earlier, and then I will always meditate, I journal, and I read. Those are my three things. And then, of course, I move my body in some way um, based off how I'm feeling that day. That's what it's come to be. And it's been that way since 2018. See, in 2018, I had crippling depression and anxiety. I was also a bit of an alcoholic. Not a bit of, I was. And I was using it to cope with a lot of my depression and anxiety. And I got help. I got help because my wife suggested that I should get help if I wanted to be able to enjoy life as much as I could. So I went to therapy. I got sober. I started to look for ways to cultivate a life that was truly worth living and enjoying. And in that, I found that having a morning routine, daily ritual, truly helped me. So I've talked about one of the things I practice, which is a daily gratitude practice, which I call the daily pursuit. It's something so very important. Finding gratitude in everything is challenging sometimes, but if we're mining for the golden 20% in the 80% of shit that pops up within our life, we figure out, or you get to recognize that what you're actually looking for is joy. We are always presently pursuing joy. So, my morning routine, the reason why I have it is because it allows me to presently pursue joy and also allows me to set the intention for the day. I get to decide who I am going to be that day. And in order to do that, I need to know what's actually going on. So, by meditating, by journaling, I can really tap into that and dig through some of those things, those emotions, those feelings, those ideas that are popping up. And on top of that, reading, I can better inform myself. So why am I telling you all this? Well, the reason is this morning I woke up and I had slept in. I got up at 5:30. Now I'm going to be honest here. 5:30 is pretty damn early for most of us. And for me, it doesn't feel early enough because the reason why I like waking up early, the reason why I like setting my intention is because it's before anyone else in my house is awake, before my dog's awake, before my son's awake, before my wife's awake, before anyone else who's visiting us is awake. I truly enjoy the quiet. So, beyond the point, uh, I have not missed my morning routine since 2018. I haven't missed more than one day, right? One day, one consecutive day in a row. And the reason how I'm able to do this is what forms what I like to call my morning routine blueprint. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now. The way I've managed to do it is by really focusing on the entry point. The entry point is the habit, right? So, this is what I talk a lot about with clients. This is what I talk a lot about on social media or any of the other places you might see me pop up, any of the articles I've written, interviews I've done. The idea is we need to set the intention and adjust our expectations. See, the expectation we have is that I'm going to set this huge thing because it's going to give me immediate results. But the actuality is, by setting that excessive expectation, we're kind of ignoring the intention we have, which is to create this routine, create sustainability, create consistency. We're actually avoiding that because we're getting attracted to the big, shiny thing. And that happens a lot. And that's what I help a lot of clients understand and figure out. And it's a beautiful thing. So here's my blueprint. Here's the first part of it. The first part of the blueprint is time. You have to pick a time for your morning routine. You have to pick a time for your morning routine that allows you to be successful. Picking a time for your morning routine that allows you to be successful. So look, 4:30 in the morning for me, it wasn't always that way. It wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it was. No, what it was I just moved the clock like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And I used that time for my routine, whatever it was at the time, whether it be meditating, whether it be writing a sentence, whether it be performing a few stretches. That's what it started off as. And when I started to see the benefit of it, and when I began to identify as someone who is consistent, someone who is playful, when I started to recognize those traits or those forms of being that I wanted to lean into, it became much easier to make the routine last longer and longer. So the idea here is to find a time that makes you successful. You don't have to wake up at the, pardon the French, ass crack of dawn. You could just wake up 5 minutes earlier and that can be your morning routine. It could be whatever you want it to be. But don't get caught up in someone else's example or someone else's expectation. We want to set it for you so you can find success, so you can be successful, not someone else. So that's the first part. One is find the time that allows you to be most successful. Part two is why. What's your why? Why do you want that morning routine? Why do you want to have that be a part of your everyday thing that you're doing? Why do you want that? Right? So we often don't ask ourselves this question, why do we actually want it? Right? And the way I like to teach it, or the way I like to talk about it, is the 5 whys. So if you've heard it somewhere before, amazing. If you haven't, here's your chance to hear about it. 5 whys is something that companies will often use. I believe it was Honda first started to use it, and they were having trouble on their assembly line. And when they were trying to figure out what was going wrong with the assembly line, they didn't know what to do, and then they came up with the 5 whys. 5 whys, you ask yourself why the particular problem or idea is happening 5 times, and it causes you to boil it down and peel it back until you get to the most specific reason. Now we can apply the same thing to our why we're particularly doing something, why we particularly have a problem. And we keep asking ourselves until we get to this answer. Now the answer isn't going to be because I want to work out, no, it's going to be super specific. So in real time, I'll do my 5 whys. I want to wake up early and have that time to myself. Why? Why do I want to wake up early and have that time to myself? Well, because for me, having clarity, having it be quiet allows me to dive in a little bit deeper. Why do I want to dive in a little bit deeper? Because in the past, when I ignored those feelings, when I ignored those ideas or anything, it would just build up into me getting angry, me getting frustrated. Why? Well, it built up into me getting angry and frustrated because I believed that my ideas and thoughts were not valid, were not validated, that I didn't have anything to offer. Why? Because I was not able to really unpack it or to see what was there. Why? Because I was always rushing, trying to put more on my plate so I could feel like I was accomplishing something. So why is my morning routine important? Because it allows me to set my intention, allows me to understand that there's clarity, allows me to figure out that I am validated, that I have the answers, that I am more than enough. That's why I have a morning routine. Now that's very different than I want to wake up earlier and work out, right? That's really different. And I can go back to that day in and day out and remind myself of that. So I highly suggest doing the 5 whys. So the first part of your morning blueprint, pick a time that allows you to be successful. Part 2 is understand your why. Why are you doing it in the first place? This is so important to have in the back of your mind. And then you need to look at the third part, the third thing that I could talk about for days, but the third thing is the habit formula. Your habit formula. This morning routine, literally, it's built on forming new habits, new behaviors. Oftentimes we try to overcomplicate it, but I'm going to keep it super simple. You can follow this formula and you will always be successful. Always, always, always. The formula goes as follows. You need a time, location, and an action. And those 3 things are the trigger for the habit or for the routine that you are about to follow. Time, location, and an action. So I'll give you an example. This morning when I slept in, I always read in the morning, right? And the first initial thought I had was, oh, I'm just going to skip. I'm going to skip this and so I can have some more time. And no, what I do is when I wake up in the morning, so when my alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning, I look at my bedside table and I grab my Kindle. So at 4:30 in the morning, I look at my Kindle in my bedroom, in my bed, right? That's the habit. It takes 2 minutes or less. I literally look at it. I don't even have to open it up. It takes 2 minutes or less. I'm more likely to do it because it's really simple. I then take the Kindle, I turn it on, and I read. Now, most cases I will read, or I try to read at least 10 pages or more. But in this case, I was running behind, so what I did is I peeled it back and I said, I'm going to read one sentence. I'm going to share with you the sentence I read because it's pretty important. Because in these moments, as we are trying to navigate, as you're trying to create this new routine, you're going to need to hear this. Now, this is from the book Daring Greatly by Glennon Doyle. And not Glennon Doyle, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. And it's really important to hear. So this is it. Only when we're brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. Only when we're brave enough to discover, or only when we're brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. So I read one sentence. That's a really powerful sentence. So think about it. If I had skipped altogether, I would have missed out on that. I wouldn't have been inspired to find gratitude, inspired to understand that it's completely normal to feel like things are hard. It's completely normal to have negative thoughts. It's completely normal to explore those things because without the dark, there is no light. And without the light, there is no dark. And we have to be symbiotic relationship with those things, right? So we need to form the habit. So time, location, action. And then you could also, when you're comfortable with that, you could practice habit stacking. So when I will perform new habit after or before current habit that I always do. Case in point, it could go like this. When I brush my teeth in the morning, I will read one page in my book. Or it could be the other way. I will read one page in my book after I brush my teeth or before I brush my teeth. Usually it's after, usually it's before the thing you always do. Case in point, I will read one sentence while my coffee brews, while I wait for my coffee to brew, right? So it can literally stack. Again, it's a little more advanced actually. So if we can stick with the base model of time, place, and action, that is how you can form your habit. That is how you can use that habit formula. So the first part of the morning routine blueprint is find a time that allows you to be successful. Second part is, what is your why? Why do you need this morning routine? What is it about it that's going to help you the most? The third part is the habit formula. The fourth part is something so crucial. The fourth part is to make it smaller. Now, I gave you an example of making it smaller. Making it smaller in this regard for me this morning was reading one sentence instead of reading 10 pages. How often have you thought about doing something and you're like, it's too much, I can't do it, right? That's what happens to a lot of you, a lot of us, to me, when we try to form a new habit. We think, okay, if I do the biggest thing, if I do the thing that requires the most energy, I'm going to get the most result from it. But what happens is you do it once, maybe you do it twice, and then you fall off. What we're actually trying to do is get 1% better every day, right? James Clear. 1% better every day. Atomic Habits. 1% better every day is 36.5% better after a full year, right? So think about it. We could do 100% once, or we could do 1% every day and ensure that we're sharpening the axe, ensure that we are getting better, that we are developing skills, that we are learning, right? Because if we are learning, we are growing. If we are growing, then we have our purpose. We are continuing to follow through. And passion and purpose is plenty. And the only way to get there is by finding consistency. So that might mean making it really itty bitty in the beginning, really small. So peel it back. It's always easier to make it smaller, but that sometimes isn't as attractive. Case in point, I had a client in my most recent round of Project Aligned and Alive, and she was having a really hard time making it to the gym. A very hard time making it to the gym. So the first thing I said, okay, do you bring your gym clothes to work? And she's like, yes, I do. I was like, cool. Do you get changed before you go to the gym? You know what? I do sometimes get changed before going to the gym. Cool. Okay, so you sometimes do that. We need to make it a little bit smaller and have it take 2 minutes or less. Okay. I was like, do you bring different sneakers for the gym? And she's like, you know what? I actually wear the same sneakers when I go to the gym. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. You are going to, do you have another pair of sneakers? And she was like, yeah, I do. Great. So you're going to wear one pair of shoes for work and you're going to wear the other pair for the gym. She's like, what? I was like, when you go to work, you're going to finish your day. She was a teacher. So I was like, when you finish the day, whatever shoes you're wearing to work, whether it be dress shoes, whether it be sneakers, whatever it is that day, you're going to take those shoes off. You're going to put them in your desk drawer and you're going to take out your gym shoes. You will tie your gym shoes. That is the habit. She's like, I don't understand. Just tie the gym shoes. At 3 o'clock, I will tie my gym shoes when I am in the classroom. That was her habit. And what happened after that was pretty cool. She started going to the gym. She started going to the gym because she put the shoes on and it was the entry point. Well, if I put the shoes on, I might as well get changed. Or I might as well get changed, put the shoes on, right? It depends on where she was that day, how it was going. But she started to go to the gym. And then she was like, you know what? I couldn't do the hour at the gym. I was like, cool. Let's make it a half hour. She's like, I had a really hard time making it a half hour. I was cool. Let's make it 10 minutes. She's like, 10 minutes at the gym. I was like, yep, that's all it's going to be. So the first habit was I will, at 3 o'clock in my classroom, put on my gym shoes. That's habit 1. Habit 2 was at 3:30, I will step in the gym for 10 minutes. That was it. Just start with the warm up. And slowly but surely, it built up to where it was a consistent practice. Because it's just the entry point. Tying the shoelaces, stepping in the gym is just the entry point. That's all it is with the habit. We need an entry point. Anything else that happens beyond that is all gravy. It's amazing. It's a benefit. But it does not happen if you do not have the trigger, if you do not have that entry point, if you do not adjust the expectation. If you can't adjust the expectation, then you cannot enjoy the benefits of the work. There will always be the perfectionist. There will always be the version of yourself. There will always be the person who's on the outside saying you can do more, you can be better, you can do it. No, you're doing enough. You're amazing. You're fantastic. You're phenomenal. You're showing up. You're doing the work. You're learning. That's all we can ever ask of ourselves. So that was part 4. So part 1, you got to pick a time that allows you to be successful. 2, you have to know your why. You could use the 5 whys. 3, you have to use that habit formula. 4, you have to make it smaller. And 5, you could track the habit. So if you want to have a morning routine is a pretty bland statement. You have to say exactly what it is. My morning routine, I can name the 3 things that I do as a part of my morning routine. Because I can name those 3 things, I know that I am going to meditate. I know I am going to read. I know I am going to journal. If I want to make the 4th thing, I know I'm going to move my body, right? It doesn't really matter what time of the day. I try to still get it done. Because I have those 4 things, I can create a habit tracker for myself. Habit tracker is pretty much this. I have the days of the week written out. Their days of the week are written out, and then I look down, have my habit tracker, and I have like a little dot across it. I do a whole video series, training series for this on Instagram. I have an Instagram training video that it talks all about how to make a habit tracker. If that's something you want to see more of, just comment below, let me know. I can put together another video for you and you can see it here. But the whole idea is that you can track the habit, you can see if it's working, and then you can make an adjustment. A lot of times we're not aware, but actually if we can see it in one place, we're more likely to follow through. If we can see it in one place, we get the action or we get the fulfillment of marking it off that we did it, which means we're more likely to follow through on it. And we can also just, again, be aware if the habit is actually working. So when we're aware of all those things, we're more likely to follow through on it. So again, consistency is what it's all about. So those are the 5 parts of my morning routine blueprint. And you can use it too, and it is pretty beneficial. So here's what I would love for you. I want you to comment below with your biggest takeaway. Let me know what worked. Let me know what left you scratching your head a little bit, because I want to be able to break this down as much as I can. I want to keep doing videos like this. Again, let me know if you want to see more of a habit tracker video. I'm more than happy to share that. And again, look, I'm just always learning and growing and trying to refine things, but these are the things that have helped me. These are the things that have helped my clients and Project Aligned and Alive and my one-on-one clients. So let me know what you think and have an amazing rest of the day, because the day is already amazing.